G'day everybody, Wes down here from the Downunder Centre. Got a great little video here today. We're joined by Karl Lane. Karl runs a company called Bungalow Building Carpentry down in the Sydney, the southeastern suburbs. So Karl, firstly, mate, thank you so much for making the time to have a chat to us. Really appreciate it, mate.
Fantastic, thanks, Wes.
No worries. And Karl, we're joined by Jamie and Gareth, which are previous Downunder Centre clients, which you've had working for you for a little bit. So we thought we'd create a little video and just, I guess, ask you a few questions, a bit about the industry, a bit about your business as well. And then we'll hit the boys up and ask them, why they chose Sydney and how they're, how they're going, etc. So firstly, Karl, tell us a little bit about your company, mate. What exactly do you guys do?
Okay, so we're a residential carpentry and building company. We're sort of based in southeast Sydney suburbs. All our work's very close together, so we're very community based, and we're basically done a perimeter around my kids' school and said, okay, that's the area we want to work, and we sort of work there and do renovations, extensions, the occasional new build, occasional bathroom renovations, but seem to be doing a lot more bigger jobs at the moment, taking on a few big jobs, with jobs sort of ranging, I suppose, from anywhere from about 6 weeks up to 6 months.
Oh wow, good stuff. So there's lots and lots of work where you guys are, lots of competition, lots of work.
There's a heap of work at the moment. We're sort of forecasting that we'll pretty much double our turnover this financial year. And that's just with contracts we've got locked in already. So it's looking pretty good for us as far as the company goes. We've sort of grown a little bit in the last 6 months, and we probably can sort of see almost double that growth again in the next 6.
It's great, isn't it? Australia is really booming. So, mate, you're also looking for a few other occupations. Like what are these occupations, mate?
So at the moment, mainly we're looking for 2 qualified carpenters. We have also looking at the moment for 2 more apprentices. We have just put on a project manager, and yeah, just basically looking for those 2 more qualified chippies is what we're looking for. Guys who are looking to do all aspects of the trade.
Yep. Perfect. Well, yeah, because I guess they've got to do if you're doing all the work you mentioned earlier. So, how many people do you currently have working in your team, mate?
Yeah, so at the moment we've got a team of 5 qualified carpenters, including myself. We've got 4 apprentices on at the moment. Back of house, we've got Steph, who looks after all our accounts and invoicing and paying the boys and that sort of thing. Tash, who takes care of our marketing, Instagram and Facebook and things. And Marty, who's just joined us, who's very much a project management role and implementing a program we've got called Builder Trend, which is sort of going to be the way we run our business, which is an app-based programming package that helps us schedule jobs, interface with their clients, and keep everything on track.
Yeah, that sounds good, mate. I think it's the world's going like that. So lots of software products that do make life easier, and I guess it's something also to learn, which is important. So, mate, when we talk about I guess looking for the staff you're looking for, what is the average role? I mean, like, how much would you be paying salary?
Yeah, it sort of depends. The 2 guys we've put on at the moment, they've come across qualified and didn't need sponsorship, and they're happy to work on ABN. For somebody who is looking for one sort of 75 to 95 is probably what we're looking at. But we're sort of flexible. It depends very much on the experience of the person. But I guess our key criteria we're looking for is people with the right attitude. We've got a very good team. We like to pride ourselves on having a no dickheads policy, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah. No, fair play, mate. Fair play. I guess when you build a business, Karl, and you build it around yourself, your culture's key. And that's what brings in business. That's the way the world is now. Lots of people have qualifications, but it's what you do with them, how your mannerisms and the people you have on site. And I think that's with migrants too. Generally, you'll find that they're so excited about their new journey to Australia that best behaviour. It's a bit like their first day every day, really. Especially if they're sponsored, or as you said, you've pulled up these guys that already had their visas, which means they hold their full Australian qualifications on arrival. They're job ready, which is perfect. Karl, just what would the typical day look like for the person? Like start time, finish time. What would your new employees expect, mate?
Yes, as a rule, most of our guys work Monday to Friday. Kick off at 7 o'clock in the morning, finishing around the 3:30 mark. Occasionally, we have to work back and do a Saturday. It's not the norm, but the option's there occasionally. As a rule, most days the boys, depends on what site they're on, but being a building company, you probably take on more roles than just your standard carpentry. So I guess the guys we're looking for who have that versatility take on a bit more and a bit more variety of work. Literally can be doing anything from framing through to fix outs, setting out jobs, bit of demolition. There is a bit of an aspect where increasingly we're going to need to be doing a bit more with the app on their phone, basically logging on through the app and capturing key moments of the build and that sort of thing for us. But that also allows them to see what's happening and seeing the overall job as a whole. So as a typical role, it's sort of the guys are going to take on more and more responsibility of capturing that sort of thing. But I guess one of the things we've prided ourselves on the past is sort of taking guys from carpentry through to builders. And that's sort of something we like to sort of offer that experience rather than just strictly carpentry. Yeah,
no, that's good, because I think lots of migrants too, obviously everyone's different, but I know lots of our clients, work for themselves and sort of are builders, and obviously like with the UK and Irish predominantly, well, most of our clients would be there. Covering that background, that's what's sort of expected. You mentioned before that that it isn't just carpentry, it's lots of sort of building work, etc. Is this because of the shortage of carpenters and tradies in Australia? You've had to adapt like that, Karl, or that's just what you've expected from people that work for your business?
Yeah, it's more, again, the guys we've had generally, either they've done their apprenticeship through us or they've come on late in their apprenticeship. And over here in Australia, once you've done your apprenticeship, if you want to go on to become a builder, you do a builder's course. And a lot of the guys want to go on and do that. And I've probably had about 4 or 5 guys over the last few years do that. So certainly for them to see that whole process from groundworks right through to hand over to clients, it's as much about developing good guys as it is anything else for us. I think we can sort of always improve in that aspect. We have a pretty long-term vision for this company. We're working closely with probably what is Australia's best builders business coach at the moment. And sort of some of the stuff I haven't shared with the guys, but we're in the process of putting in a system there that if guys come towards their end of the time and they want to go out on their own, we're going to have the infrastructure there to give them that support, whether it be in a franchising model or whether it be in a, hey, this is all the backup support you need to run your own business. So I guess for me personally, that's a big goal for me, is to not have some awesome carpenters, which I've seen in the past, come through, go out and try to make it on their own. And just, a lot of guys just aren't built for the business side model of the industry, but should be running their own businesses. So I guess, if we have one goal for our company, to give that pathway, a clear pathway, would be, a great tick for us to say, we've done our job well. Yeah,
that's good, Karl. I guess for you as well, you get that sort of sense of fulfillment as well, don't you? That you've also helped that someone who had the necessary skills also to achieve what they want to do. But, keeping up to Australian standards is really good. Let's go back a step, mate. What are the skills and experience that you're looking for an ideal candidate then?
Yeah, certainly as a base, somebody coming, the 2 guys we're looking for qualified, somebody with framing experience and fix out experience as a base, and to be able to set out a job and to organise their day is the main things we're looking for.
Yeah, excellent. Latest projects, what are you up to? What are you building at the moment?
At the moment, we've got a 2nd story addition extension going on in Mascot, where probably that's been about a 20-week project. We've got another little bathroom, or sort of 3 bathroom renovations that have just come to an end today, which we'll go and get some photography and stuff for socials on that in the next day or so.
Yeah.
We also have a rear extension going on not too far from the other job. We're sort of at the brickwork stage of that at the moment. Just finished a big build, which we took through to lock-up stage, which the whole project of that was about $1 million build, I suppose. Coming up, we have just signed off on one of our biggest renovations in Rosebery, which is probably about 2 kilometres from our other 2 jobs, which will start probably in the next month or so. And that'll keep the boys, that job alone, about 4 guys busy for about 6 months, which is a massive rear extension, new pool, that sort of thing.
Just Karl, let's go back one more step, mate. When you said it's close to your location, so where is your general working area for the migrants? Obviously, when people think of Australia, just give us an idea of where you're based and sort of the areas where you work, please, mate.
Yeah, so Pagewood's our main area. A lot of our jobs come through Rosebery, Mascot, and Maroubra. Through that little corridor there is our
and that's all southeastern Sydney suburbs of Sydney, is that right?
Correct. So I guess if you're sort of looking on a map and you go towards Bondi on the map, if you come down about 3 or 4 beaches, you'll hit Maroubra Beach. And I think that's actually where Jamie's put himself as a resident now over at Maroubra. And Gareth, you're still at Bondi, is that right? Yeah. So very much sort of backpacker central, I suppose, for Australia.
Yeah, living the dream.
So we're not too far from that main area. Exactly.
Yeah, perfect. So for many people, this will be the first time working in Australia for some of our clients. Okay. What are the working hours? How do you accommodate? Do you guys do anything for a good work-life balance?
Yeah, we do to a degree. We've sort of got more and more of that coming up. We actually, all the boys are actually off to do a 10K run on this Sunday.
You're not getting involved, Karl?
Sorry?
You putting the runners on too, mate? You getting involved? Or you sending a team
We're
out?
all doing it. I think with people that are sort of involved with our company and most of our employees doing, I think there's close to 20 of us doing in total.
Oh, wow.
So we've got the 10Ks, and that's all around Sydney, go across the Harbour Bridge. It finishes at the Opera House on Sunday morning. And we're booked into the pub, I think, at about 11. So, yeah.
Get those calories
the run takes out, if you know what I mean. Yeah, 100%. It's about carb loading afterwards, yeah.
Yeah, excellent. So obviously you've got good work-life balance. You sort of, I guess, as the environment is, it's lots of people when they're migrants, when they're actually moving, Karl, they try to attend to what's the word, like sort of maybe they fall into bad habits where they're from, or they'll wake up at 6 and not get back at 7 and maybe miss those early years of the kids growing up, and maybe that's what they want to stamp out when they get to Australia. So working for you guys sounds good. So what time would they start and finish, mate?
Yeah, so starting at 7 and finishing at 3:30.
3:30.
3:30, yep.
Yeah,
so
not bad.
The beauty of our model, and this is the way we're sort of keeping it, is we do most of our work in a very centralized area. So generally there's there's less than a couple of kilometers between our jobs at any one stage. And most of our guys, including these 2 guys, are sort of home at their house within 15 minutes of knocking off.
Yeah, well, we're going to catch up with them in a bit and find out what exactly they do after work. Try and keep it clean, Jamie and Gareth too, boys. Living in Bondi and that, mate. Living the UK dream. But we'll keep you muted for the moment. Okay, mate. You probably know this more than anyone, Karl. What's the future of the industry looking like? The workforce, the current demand for services. My phone rings every day with employers. What's your version, mate?
Just speaking to other builders, and we have a lot to do with a big community of builders through the business coaching that we do, and just mates that we've made over the years. Everybody at the moment is looking for good employers. I don't think it's any secret. It's not just carpenters and builders, it's every aspect of the industry over here at the moment is just crying out for people. And if you sent me 20 guys tomorrow, I know I could find pretty much all of them a job with somebody tomorrow. It's sort of at that level. People are talking about if it's going to ease up with interest rates that are going up all around the world, but certainly, as I said, we've sort of booked in twice the amount of jobs that we've had as far as turnover goes already for this financial year. And we don't see it stopping at this stage.
Yeah, I think the hardest hurdle is getting people working, and the way that the world is, it's it's migrants, and Australia is a destination country, so it's good timing. Let's so with your industry, I mean, what do you really enjoy about the work that you guys do? In your industry, Karl, what gets you up every day, mate? What do you like about it?
Oh, if I've been totally honest, sometimes I want to wind back the clock and just be back on the tools, because that's what I actually like the most. Just the way we're sort of going, it's sort of becoming harder and harder to do that. If I'm being brutally honest, when I do get on the tools now, I'm sort of that out of touch, and the boys are so much better than me. I'll probably do more mistakes than anybody on site. So sometimes it's best for me not to go on site. But my job now is to sort of really get back in there and drive the business. Mate, what I like about, I guess, our little company in particular, we are local. We seem to make a lot of friends as we go with our clients. We're there, we sort of see everybody down the street the next day, that sort of thing. So we're got to have a team that is very client focused, and that's we get a lot of compliments about, is our guys should just be able to sort of have the right attitude. And we sponsor a few sporting teams and that sort of thing around the area, so it's very much about being part of the community for us. So that's quite rewarding. But certainly, doing the handovers and more so with Tash and that sort of thing, being able to sort of put a bit of a video journey together for people about their project. And not only for the clients, but also for the boys, so that they can look back in years to come and say, hey, I worked on that job and where I went. Yeah,
that's what it is, mate. When you're young and you're getting started, I remember doing my plumbing apprenticeship and my first girlfriend, second girlfriend, third girlfriend, whatever that was the house I did that. I did that job at that house. I did the roof, I did the roof there. This is what I did. And then, it just became a little bit boring for him, I guess. But mate, let's talk about the culture within your industry, because you seem really proud of the things that you do and all of that. Obviously, I'm gonna have to ask, mate, work parties, social events, etc. You how do you incorporate that into the company culture?
Yeah, well, I guess a typical, probably the go-to thing, I suppose, was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I may have had a few drinks on Melbourne Cup Day and declared Melbourne Cup another public holiday for our company. So Melbourne Cup Day is usually sort of almost like our Christmas party, I suppose. We take the day off. Usually we do something like go-karting or golfing or something in the morning, and then where it leads to after that, I prefer we'll just leave that off the video for the time being. But it usually ends up pretty raucous. Occasionally, we like to have the occasional sort of sneak down to the pub on a Friday for lunch and that sort of thing. Just thanks to the boys. And hopefully we've got a few more events like that, golf and that sort of things we're going to sort of structure throughout the year. Just to sort of, the boys can have something else different to do, you know what I mean? And it's just good to sort of break that monotony. Yeah, no, that's, well said. And what we'll do, actually, Karl, if you want to mute your microphone, and Jamie and Gareth, if you want to jump in, guys, let's back up what Karl's saying, because, when I was in the UK for quite a while, I actually found that, especially in London, when you were a tradie, boys, you sort of got on the right, on the
Sorry,
we got you, mate. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, okay. Can you now?
Yeah, we might just have to get Karl to mute his mic. Might sound a bit better. Got a bit of feedback. Sounds like there's a few aliens in the sitting with you guys in Sydney.
We can all good now. So if you want to relay that question again, please, Wes.
Yeah, awesome. So what I was doing is just talking a bit about the experience in the UK when I was there as a tradesperson. I always felt that you sort of I wouldn't say lower class, but it was different. But growing up, boys, as a tradie growing up in Melbourne and all of that, and the culture that we had, mate, being a tradie in Australia was brilliant. Like the work-life balance is really good. Everyone loves a tradie. You're always needed. And just the fun side of being a tradie is just so laid back. How have you guys found the difference between the UK and working in Australia?
Like you said there, really, I think it does seem that everyone does love a tradie here. It seems like the tradies are everywhere, and you see them with the youths, and they're well received within the community. But yeah, just really enjoyed being a tradie out here, and enjoying the work-life balance as well. That's really good.
Yeah. I could picture you boys having some good time. Now, Gareth, you mentioned the word ute. Did you know what a ute was before you come out?
I kind of had like a rough idea, but I didn't realize that it was as big of a deal as it is here.
Yeah. No, we love our ute. So, Gareth, where are you from, mate? Whereabouts are you from?
I'm actually from South Wales, the valleys.
The Valleys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. And did you come out by yourself? Did you come out with family? Who'd you come out with?
Actually come up on myself. Yeah. Made the decision to leave. I think it was in December. Done a little bit of traveling on my way here, but arrived in Sydney in February.
Yeah, perfect. What about yourself, Jamie? Did you come to Australia by yourself? Did you come with family?
Yeah, I came as well. I came probably 3 months after Gareth. We planned to come together, but he went traveling a few months before me, and I followed suit. But yeah.
Okay, so you were mates back home.
Yeah, we live and work together back home. We work for the same company back home as well.
Oh, good ideas. Well, you're both Downunder Centre clients, which is good. So being able to get you guys working with Karl's just, that's I spoke to Karl about that word fulfillment before with his journey, with how he likes to develop people, and that sense of satisfaction. And today's an awesome moment for us because that's what we love doing, connecting you guys. We're not a recruitment company. We're not charging fees to Karl to play, like recruitment fees, etc. You guys get to work with a decent company, get to experience life. So, but I'll plug myself in this little video as well. Why not? But you're down there, you've gone through everything. All right. So let's go to you, Gareth. What was it like making the move to Sydney, mate?
I found the transition went pretty smoothly, to be honest with you. I found that I settled in pretty well, pretty easily. So I live in Bondi. I think it's been really good transition.
All right. Gareth, what we'll do, mate, that you're a bit alienish, mate. Karl, I might have to get you to join with the boys if that's okay. Just turn yours off if that's possible, or just because it's getting the feedback's getting quite strong. Cool. All right. We're still recording. Just explain that again. I heard you mention the word Bondi, mate. So obviously you're proud living in Bondi, which is good. What's it like living in Bondi?
Bondi is great. Just I guess everyone knows Bondi, knows that there's a bit of a backpacker syndrome. But yeah, it's kind of full of migrants and people coming out here for the same sort of work-life balance, really. But yeah, I think it's great. There's so much going on there. There's heaps of work there, and it's just a good atmosphere around, to be honest.
No, good stuff. And are you knocking around with other, with people from the UK, or are you knocking around with the Aussies, or a bit of a mixture?
It's a bit of a mixture, I guess. There are plenty of Brits there, for sure. Plenty of Irish here, lots of Irish. But yeah, there's quite a few Aussies around as well. But so there's a good mixture of people. Yeah, sure.
All right. So you're having fun. Is it what you expected, mate? When you arrived in New South Wales and you got to Sydney and you saw Bondi, were you just like, oh, this is grouse, this is good, this is exactly what I wanted? Is that how you felt, mate?
Yeah, for sure. And I guess maybe even more, I found that I didn't realize I'd have so much. I know people always talk about having like a life outside of work, but I didn't really think it to be as true as much as there is. I found myself doing like a load more, as in just like activities after work or do before work. Everyone's up and out there early in the morning before work here. Then just little things like just going to play tennis in the evening after work, or just going for coastal walks, which is great. It's really, really good.
Yeah, perfect. And out of you and Jamie, mate, who's got the better beach body? Who's going to be the next Bondi rescue lifesaver out of you and your mate Jamie?
That's definitely Gareth.
Yeah, All right. So, Jamie, let's pick on you for a little bit, mate. How long you been working, for Karl Lane Building in Carpentry?
I think it's just under 3 months now. Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 months and 3 weeks.
And what's it like, mate? Was it in Wales? Did you work for yourself? Were you working for a company? Who were you working for back in Wales?
Yeah, so I've always been self-employed, but we subcontract to the same company that me and Gareth work together. It's pretty much the same kind of work, but there's definitely a difference between like UK carpentry and like Australian carpentry, which it's been good actually, because we're getting used to the way like the Aussies do things over here, like with the timber framing. There's not much framing like back home, so yeah, it's definitely good, like kind of learning the different kind of ways to do the carpentry over here as well.
Yep. Okay. So what's it like working for Karl Lane Building in Carpentry, mate? Talk us through the culture, the team, how are you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's ideal, to be fair. It's certainly something that I was looking for when I first came, because I actually had a few days or maybe a week's work with another company before I started with Karl. But the hours were like really long. Like I was working on 12-hour shifts. And it was kind of taking away that kind of work-life balance, which didn't really work out. So I emailed Karl straight away after I quit that job. Yeah, and it worked out pretty well. Like the hours are exactly like we were working back home, probably a little less, which is good. All the boys are great. It's a good atmosphere, and as Karl already mentioned, like the work-life balance that they kind of keep on top of, which yeah, creates that kind of well-rounded, kind of like work-life balance. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, Gareth. Okay, so mate, you wake up in the morning before work. You mentioned there's a bit of activity going around in Bondi, and all that. Everyone's out enjoying life, I guess, enjoying what that particular area's got to offer with the, with the water, the scenery, and all of that. It makes life, it makes it a bit easier waking up in the mornings. But what's your day like, mate? Just run through from when you wake up, normal work day. Like let's pick last Tuesday, mate. You wake up, what do you do?
Yeah, so on a maybe a morning where I find the energy or the will to actually go to the gym before work, maybe I wake up and get up about 5 a.m. something like that. But I tend to find, like, you think it's kind of early, but there's heaps of people out and just getting up for sunrises and stuff, and then you do that or whatever you do, and then head off to work, get there for just before 7, so you then get set up and get started for 7. And then there's a full shift then from 7 till 3:30. And I think maybe once that day is done, I think is probably maybe 20 minutes, half an hour drive back to Bondi, depending on traffic. So come 4 p.m. we're back on the beach. So it's not a bad working day, really.
That's good, isn't it? It's good. It's good. It's just magic, mate. It's absolutely magic. Jamie, what are you working on now, mate? What project are you working on? You doing first fix, second fix? What sort of stuff you doing now, mate?
We're kind of still on the first fix. The cat roof has gone on. It's tiled. Kind of inside now. Yeah, the second fix will be starting pretty much soon on extension and a first and second floor extension. Yep.
Okay. Cool. And so with your sort of side of it and all that, are you playing, you're doing sport and activities as well? You sort of, what are you doing after hours, mate?
Yeah, well, the one kind of thing that me and Gareth spoke about when we came here is kind of starting up hobbies again, like golf, tennis. Like back home with the weather not being that great, it's kind of hard to kind of schedule those kind of hobbies in after work, especially when it gets dark at like 5 p.m. But yeah, we booked an hour and a half of tennis tonight after work at 4:30. Played golf on Saturday on the weekends. Probably going to get another few rounds in like this week after work. So it's definitely we definitely pack in the week and spare time in with like hobbies and different kind of activities. Yeah, it's good.
Well, there's good times ahead, boys, because you've got well, you've got spring, with the start of spring at the moment and the sun's shining and all of that. Then you've got summer, but then you've also got the Melbourne Cup weekend, which is a big day for Karl and his team, which is also looking forward to, boys. Okay, so last question. All right. Whereabouts you guys living? Is it close to work? Let's just talk a bit about the tourists, the backpackers, if you traveled around New South Wales. Over to you, Gareth. We'll ask you first, mate.
Myself, I've now I've started doing a bit of traveling around New South Wales. I haven't done a huge amount, but kind of since again here, really, I just jumped back into work life again. Because I was doing, like I said previously, I was doing a bit of traveling before I got here, so kind of needed to top up the bank account a little bit. But no, there's some plans for some traveling in the next few months for sure. Definitely want to see more of New South Wales and even further up the coast.
Yep. And who do you live with? Do you live in a share house? Do you live in a rent? Like how does it work, mate?
I actually live with my girlfriend now, but only recently we've moved out of a shared accommodation in Bondi. So we actually lived with two other lads who are both tradies as well.
Yeah. And what about yourself, Gareth? Where do you live, mate? Who do you live with?
Jamie.
Yeah.
I mean, Jamie.
Oh, sorry, Jamie. Sorry, mate. Yeah.
Well, when I arrived, I actually was living in the shared apartment with Gareth and his girlfriend. Like a few weeks there just to kind of find my feet. But now I'm living in Maroubra, which
nice.
is only 15 minutes away. It's actually closer to the sites that I'm working with for Karl, so that was ideal. And I'm close, right next to the beach as well, which is ideal. But it's still only 15-20 minutes away from most of my friends who live in Bondi. So even on weekends, it's still only a 15-minute drive away. Even if we do any kind of sports on the weekend or going out to the pub, everything's in a half-hour range, which is ideal. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, guys, there's 2 minutes left on this time, so we don't want it to cut out. Just quickly, if you could do anything again, or would you change anything? You're happy where you are? Would you advise it for other young carpenters to go head out to Australia? What do you guys reckon?
Oh, for sure, I would definitely recommend for people to go through with the process. I know it does seem a bit daunting. It seems like a big thing just to pack up your life back home and move out, but certainly once you're here, you'll realize why you've done it.
Yeah, exactly. And you guys, skilled visas, it's perfect. So Jamie, Gareth, Karl, just on behalf of the Downunder Centre, Karl, thank you so much for taking on our clients, mate. Really appreciate it. Love the company culture and all that, mate, you've got. I love the policy you mentioned earlier, the certain people you know what they have, which is important. And then for Jamie and Gareth, just keep enjoying it, mate. It sounds like you guys are really set and you're enjoying all that hard work that you put through for the skills assessments, the visas and everything like that. So congratulations and thank you so much for sharing your experience, guys. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Great. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Cheers.
All right. I think we can edit that.